Guys, welcome back to the show. I'm joined in studio with Scottish MMA fighter Stephen Ray. Stephen Braveheart Ray. How you doing?
I'm good. All good. How are you? You all
Uh,
right?
fine. Not too bad myself. Um, Look, so I'm gonna start on what's on the horizon at the moment, which is PFL Euro number three, against your opponent Lewis Long. Um, how do you, as in, do you see that fight going? Have you studied his own past fights and basically, what's the kind of plan you got for fight day?
To be honest, I don't like looking at too much footage of my opponents. I obviously have a little look to see what he's all about. Lewis Long's one of those fighters. He's been around the kind of same length of time as me. And yeah, I've kind of like known of him. He's in a bit of the grappling scene as well. I think he's done a few grappling matches. I watched one that he grappled against Shane Curtis, guy who I also competed against in grappling. But thing is, grappling's different. I mean, I've watched one of his fights. I struggled to actually find anything on him, but I don't really care too much about watching too much anyway. But I watched his fight against the French dude. Can't remember his name, but French guy. It was at Bellator Paris 280. Um, and yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I thought he's all about anyway. He's got decent kicks. He's more a kicker rather than a puncher, I would say. Even physically, he's like lower body. He's got big legs. He's like the opposite to me. I'm upper body and he's lower. He's legs, but yeah, looked like he had decent kicks. He looks tough. That's the main thing probably about him. He looks like he's a bit like me. He's a bit mental. He's a bit mad, scrappy. You know, he likes a good barn burner. Um, yeah, so I mean, I think it's going to be a good fight because we've got similar styles. We both like to bang. We both like to try and entertain the fans. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Speaking of grappling, um, which of the two do you really enjoy the most competing in, training in? I mean, grappling and mixed martial arts. I mean, which of the two do you enjoy competing in the most? Of course, they're related to each other, but I mean, grappling makes only just a part of mixed martial arts. I mean, how do you balance the two? I mean, which of the two do you really enjoy competing in the most?
Well, there's a few. Obviously, the two main disciplines is striking and grappling, but even grappling like is divided into two as well. There's like jiu-jitsu and then there's wrestling. So out of all of the little categories, I probably like doing jiu-jitsu the best. Just rolling, I feel like that's the least taxing on your body. Um, for me anyway. Just rolling around. Wrestling's the worst. Wrestling's the fucking most tiring. Brutal on the body. It's the most like that's where most of the injuries always come from. It's from wrestling, and it's just fucking exhausting. So, but it's one of those ones I know it needs to get done. That's basically where the cardio comes from. I feel anyway, from wrestling. It's not from strength conditioning. Obviously, you can improve your fitness a bit doing strength conditioning, but I feel like strength conditioning for me is more for the specifics. If you're doing like plyometrics to try and get more explosive or injury prevention or whatever. So yeah, the most enjoyable for me is jiu-jitsu.
Hmm, that's very interesting. I mean, I was even gonna go as far as say when it comes to preparing for either one of the competitions, whether it's the jiu-jitsu or grappling and then mixed martial arts. I mean, do you feel that there's, of course, the fight camp will have to be different now, and then when it goes to preparing for a mixed martial arts competition, you've got to change fight camp again, then vice versa when you've got the other competition coming up.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely different. I mean, for for like fucking almost a year, I had done like no striking. It's the longest I've ever not done anything before, and I don't mind saying that either because it's not took too long before it's all back the timing, and I could still bang somebody in the face. I've still got it. But
Ugh.
but realistically, I stopped doing striking for almost a year.
Mhm.
I was just grappling. I was doing jiu-jitsu and wrestling. So the fact that I was still active, it kept me fit. It wasn't like sometimes when I've took a break before, because I have took a break before and like took a break from fighting. I've got like heavy and oh, it's a fucking nightmare. Like see when I started PFL one, the $1 million tournament, I remember thinking to my friends and I text my coach. I was like, I didn't know if I could do this anymore. Because obviously I took a bit of time off, lost all my fitness, lost like the body conditioning, used to getting hit and all that stuff. And yeah, it was brutal. But this time, even though I've not done like a fight camp and I've not been training for any fights or stuff like that, I've still been competing in grappling. I competed against Shane Curtis. I submitted him. I then competed against Ibrahim Main, who's also on the same card. He's in the welterweight tournament. I beat him. I subbed him. And then I went against Jed Hu, one of the best grapplers in the UK, if not the world. I lost a decision against him, but yeah, it kept me active. It kept me fit, kept me active, um, and I've been able to, transition into the fight camp a lot easier. It's not been as brutal as it was when I started the PFL tournament.
You are a fighter that, despite your age, you're still young, but you've got a lot of fights under your belt, under your name. But there is two fights that stands out, because your opponent is a big name in the mixed martial arts world, especially on his home turf. Um, Anthony Pettis. Um, you beat him twice. Now, in that particular bout, did you feel any extra pressure? Because I guess he also brings himself a really big platform as well. So if you do beat him, I guess only can I say ups your name and ups your ranking as well. I mean, how did that fight feel on both occasions? You did beat him twice.
Yeah, so just speaking about the Petis fights first, when I beat him the first time, I knew I could beat him. I went into the fight confident, knowing I could beat him. His style, I feel like, worked well against me as well. Uh, and yeah, I knew I could win, and I twisted him. It went a little bit viral. Nobody had seen that type of submission, the kind of modified twister that I hit. And then yeah, I went and beat him again on points just to let everybody know that it wasn't a fluke that I got the win. Yeah, I obviously made it to the final and I lost it in the final against Aubin Mercier. But yeah, I mean, regardless of even Pettis, I feel like I've fought a lot of big names. First big name I remember fighting was Ross Pearson. He was a big name at the time, one of the best to come out of the UK. Um, Beat him on points. It was a last minute kind of fight as well. I took it on 4 weeks' notice. It was the co-main event for UFC Belfast. So yeah, I beat him. Then back to back, I beat him, and then I beat Joe Lozon, who was also a huge name. Been around, fought some of the best guys in the world, and I was a fan of Joe Lozon as well, both Ross Pearson and Joe Lozon. And then even some of my losses, like Paul Felder, a really big name as well. He's been in there with some of the best. I lost to Paul Felder. Then you've got Leonardo Santos. I got caught off him, got caught and fucking got knocked out off him, but he's one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters in the world. And then try to think a couple of other names. Michael Johnson, obviously one of the biggest names in the sport as well. He's fought Khabib. He knocked out Dustin Poirier. He's fought, the best of the best, and I beat him. Um, and then even guys like Owen Mercer. I know people look at I fought Anthony Petis twice and beat him, but and Owen Mercer is not as big a name, but I mean he's 9-0 in the PFL. Uh, he is a really good fighter as well. Same with Nathan Schultz and Clay Collard. So I'm on like a 3 fight losing skid, hence the kind of reason I retired and stuff as well. I'm not in the sport just to, or I wasn't in the sport just to take part. I was in to, try and be the best of the best and become a champion or whatever. Not just doing it for a pay packet, if you like. So, um, yeah, but looking to bounce back for that, PFL are obviously coming to Scotland, so it made sense to get on that and it's against somebody similar. I mean, like I said, me and Lewis Long, we're both. I think he's a year older than me, 35. We've both had a lot of fights. We're both from the UK. We're both good grapplers, um, and we both like to fucking bang. Both like to. I think he likes a drink as well. So yeah, we'll get in the cage for 15 minutes. We'll try and fuck each other up, punch fuck at each other, and then probably get a beer together after it.
That sounds good.
That's the plan.
Um, Speaking of which, a fighter did ask me this in one of my past well, in one of the past interviews that I've had when speaking to another fighter. Um, how do you handle a loss? I mean, because I do see one of the things I do hate is that when a fighter does lose a fight, you get a lot of naysayers and trolls, and a lot will come out and really, really bash them, just give them the worst kind of tongue lashing online. And one thing that stands out to my mind is that, well, at least the person who finally didn't win the fight, but at least they had the balls to go into the cage and do what you probably would never ever dream of doing.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it doesn't matter how confident I don't think you are. I think like unless you're a psycho or you just didn't care about losing, I think everyone gets nervous for a fight. Um, and yeah, I mean, I remember even before fighting in the UFC and PF or any MMA fights, I had like organized fights in the street, and I was just as nervous for those as I am to, headline the Hydro. It's the butterflies. It's because there's people watching. We're not scared of fighting. We're scared of losing. We're scared of like the lights, the camera, the action. Just didn't want to disappoint our fans and stuff as well. But yeah, it's how you deal with that. I mean, the way I like to look at it now, it's changed over the years. But the way I look at it now is, you know what? I'm going to fight in the Hydro main event. Hopefully, it's got a lot of fans there, Scottish fans watching. It's going to be I think it's really going to be a good fight with Lewis Long. Win, lose or draw, I get paid for it. I get to come home to my family, my wife and kids. And there's nothing that's better than that anyway. I wouldn't trade any money or any win in the world to not be able to come back to do that. So you got to remember what's important. Obviously the win is good to get the win, but I used to put too much pressure on myself. Like I'm just going to try and enjoy the moment. I seen somebody saying that online recently as well that when he was a fighter, it was Ali McLean actually. Shout out to him. But he said, one of the big things that he did when he was a fighter that he did wrong was not enjoy the moment. And it's very like a lot of my fights. Like that $1 million fight, I could not wait until it was over. I fucking hated the whole part of it. Just could not wait until the next day. Like win or lose, just couldn't wait until it was finished. And we forget that like, we didn't do this for very long. You only live once as well. Like just try and enjoy the moment. Win or lose, just enjoy it. I mean, there's not many people that can say they're going to headline on like main event an arena in your home country to have a scrap. Like, so that's my plan. I'm just gonna go out and try and enjoy it. Fucking, I'm doing everything that I would normally do. You know, I'm training my arse off. I'm sparring all the upcoming guys at higher level. You know, I'm getting older, but like you said, I'm not that old.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a lot of fights and stuff. I've got a lot of wear and tear on my body, but I could still hang in with the young guys like Mark Ewan, Dylan Took, Sean Clancy, Lorenzo Parenti, my teammate Kunle. Like, there's a few of them that's on the show. They're all up and coming killers. Um, and yeah, like we're all bringing each other on. I've still got 8 weeks to, get sharper and fitter. And yeah, like I said, I'm doing everything I need to do to try and take Lewis's head off and get the win.
Speaking of which, it's the first time me speaking with you. Uh, can you give a brief, just your backstory and how you got into combat sports as a whole, and in particular mixed martial arts?
Yeah, so I always kind of liked fighting, but I never actually watched it. I didn't watch boxing or Muay Thai, or the only thing I did used to watch was like WWE, like the fake fighting when I was younger.
Uh,
Um, But apart from that, I didn't really watch any sports, as in contact sports anyway. I went to boxing a couple of times because I used to get bullied. Like, I think my mum and dad encouraged me to go to boxing to try and learn how to fight, toughen up a bit. But apart from that, I then started like getting in fights, like in the street, getting in trouble. I I got remanded in Perth prison for a week for an assault. Um, uh, I basically got in a fight, but because I ended up breaking the guy's jaw, I got done for a serious assault. Um, the prosecutor fiscal tried to fully commit me, which is like 4 months in jail until like the trial. But I got out. I got out on a curfew, so I had to be in my home at 7 o'clock every night. Um, I stuck to that, but the police weren't coming to check, so eventually I started staying out a little bit later because I had to be home at 7, but nobody was ever checking. 3 months
mm,
in, so I was like, "Fuck that! I'm staying out longer." And then eventually I got in trouble again. I ended up getting in another fight, getting caught. That was on curfew. I then got tagged, so I got put on a tag, a 6 month tag, and then I started doing MMA while I was on the tag. And yeah, it changed my life really because I stopped getting in trouble. And instead of paying fines for fighting, I started getting paid for fighting. So um,
nice.
a better deal out of it. But yeah, that was it. I mean, when I started MMA, I was 19. So obviously, like before that, 16 to 19, I was going out drinking, hanging about the streets, maybe hanging around with some, people that would influence me to get in trouble and stuff as well. Uh, but yeah, that was it. I mean, I went to an MMA class recommended to me from a friend, Dean Crichton. He had been training. It was in the guy's back garden. It was like a private club. I went down and yeah, that was it. I could not believe that somebody half my weight could choke me and make me tap or put me unconscious. Like, I just couldn't believe that, as I was like heavier and bigger and this wee skinny guy was able to choke me out or like make me tap and then I fell in love with that. Just this I suppose the jiu-jitsu part of it. But um yeah, and then I just trained every day pretty much. Trained every day of my life since then. That would have been 15 years ago. Yeah.
Is would you say that that's what kind of hooked you into? Because I've heard other fighters say that kind of tell the same similar story. They went for the first time to the jiu-jitsu class, and they saw someone who they thought they could simply and easily overpower because they looked a lot smaller than they were. And then when they got into it, they found that the impossible actually happened, and they thought, no, there's something wrong here. I've got to know how to tackle and defeat this person in the fight. Is that like a similar thing really that happened for you?
A little bit, yeah. I mean, I was 19 when I started. I had been going to the gym and lifting weights, getting a bit bigger. I was getting into fights in the street. I thought it was tough.
Mhm.
And then the fact that I went to an MMA club, so it wasn't quite just jiu-jitsu, it was an MMA club. I was right in at the deep end. I was MMA sparring. And yeah, like you said, I just couldn't believe that somebody half my weight, even though I was stronger than them, they would be able to put me in submissions and I would have to tap. Um, that hooked me to it. Because, I was just like, well, that obviously works. And then yeah, I mean, I just kept training. I wanted involved. Uh, I was on a tag at the time, so my training was 5:30 till 6:30, and then my tag was 7 o'clock, and I didn't have a car at the time, so I had to run. I had to run home. That was part of the fitness. So
Yeah.
I would do my training, and then I would sprint home. I'd always get home at like 1 minute to seven, and that was my routine. I did that. I then eventually had to get my tag cut off for my first fight. I had to apply to court because I had a tag on my ankle, like, and it's quite a hard, like, it's like a weapon.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be allowed to fight if that was on. So basically, I had to ask, can I get it removed just for the fight and then get it put back on? So, and I said it was for a karate fight, just so the ref, at that time the
Yeah.
ref cage fighting, as it was called back in the day. And yeah, luckily I got the judge that had done a bit of karate back in his day. So yeah, he
Yeah.
let me get it cut off. Won my first fight, got the got the tag put back on the same night, which was a bit gutting. I was hoping I was going to get a night out of it at least. At least get a night on a night out on the drink.
Yeah.
But it was straight back on. And then the second time, second fight, I actually applied just to get the whole tag off early because the thing I eventually got the tag for, obviously I got the tag for breaching the curfew, but the thing I was on the curfew for and that I spent a week in prison for, I got not guilty. I got like self-defense.
Yeah.
So the judge ended up letting me get the tag off 2 months early. So I got it cut off for my second fight and I wasn't going back on that time. And yeah, never been in trouble with the police again since. So um yeah, that obviously helped me thingy my anger or fighting or whatever.
Yeah. I like that. That's almost like, would I say, I'm just trying to think what kind of story I could term it as. I wouldn't call it not like a rags to riches story. It's like almost like you use your anger and frustration and the fact that you were fearless of getting to physical altercations with people to turn around to something good, like have a successful mixed martial arts career, I say.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it sounds stupid, man, but I mean, anybody that knows me well and was at school with me, they'll know that like I was getting I was in so many fights even at school. Like I remember primary five, I'm having fights. And what primary five, I'm probably like 10 years old. I'm having like one-on-one fights. All the way from like probably like age 10, to be honest. So I fought my whole life. For whatever reason, I ended up fighting and getting into fights. I'm not too sure, but yeah, like you said, I've been able to then uh, bring something positive out of it. I remember at school, the teachers asking me what I want to do and what I enjoy doing, and me stupidly thinking like I like fighting. Never to think that that would end up being my full-time job, being a fighter. But it just shows you. Try and think of what you actually like doing, and try and make something of that.
The gym that you're affiliated with, high level MMA, I have to say that it looks like a gym that there's a lot of highly prospectful fighters coming out of there. Can you talk a bit more about the place? I mean, and I kick myself for the name just now, just leaving my mind. It's uh Edwards or Lewis Ifeanyi something. He's one of the fighters that is a PFL fighter himself.
From higher level?
Yes, no, you.
Mark Ewan
That's it.
or
Yes,
Dylan
Mark.
too?
Yes, yes. I
Aye.
can't believe I forgot his name. Yeah, but he's another fighter who I've spoken with, but another big name on the Scottish mixed martial arts scene, including yourself. I mean, he said to me that there's a lot of they're the best gym in MMA gym in Scotland, and clearly with someone like yourself, that only adds to what he was saying. He wasn't mincing his words. But I mean, can you talk a bit more about the team and the gym overall?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean the whole head of the gym is my coach, James Dillon. I mean, you would maybe need to speak to him actually to get the proper details out, but I'm sure James has been doing MMA probably since like UFC one. Like that's why we're so established and so good. When I first started training in the place I told you, it eventually became a public place called Edge MMA. It was a instructor, Jim McKelvey, who's sadly passed away now, but he, he had a background and a bit of everything. But anyway, when I started getting to a certain level, I realized like I've not got the training partners. I'm training with people that are just coming in for fitness, and if I want to go anywhere in this sport, I need to move to the Dinky Ninja Fight Team, as we were called back then, and kind of still are. So the Dinky Ninja Fight Team was three different clubs. There was higher level MMA. I think they used to be called Lanark MMA. They were based in Lanark, hence the name. There was the Grip House, which was based in Glasgow. They're still obviously, running the now. And there was the D Unit, which is also still running, which was in Dumbarton. So within the three clubs, the three like premises, we had one big team called the Dinky Ninja Fight Team. And even back then, we're talking 15 years ago, or no, I would have joined in 2012, so 12 years ago. There was over 50 pro fighters, 50 pro fighters from the Dinky Ninja Fight Team, and that was unheard of uh, in one country anyway, one place, one team. To have that many pro fighters fighting at a high level, guys like Paul McVeigh and stuff, who was the Cage Warriors champion, even way back then. And James Doolan was obviously fighting as well as loads of other fighters. But yeah, and then uh, James used to be in a place in Hart Hill. No, no Hart Hill. What's the place? Whitburn. He used to have a unit in Whitburn. So when he first moved there, is when I decided to join the gym, which was ideal because it was a bit closer to me. And I had actually fought some of James's team. I'd fought a guy called Scott Ward and John Quinn, who were both from that team. So I was like the rival a little bit. When I first joined the gym, I was the enemy, I feel like. But and then I joined selfishly because knowing that if I want to go as far as I want to go, I know I need to train with the best. And sometimes it's hard doing that. I had my own club and my own coach, Edge MMA, and Jim McKelvey, and it was hard. I had Joe Gowans was the guy that kind of took the leadership, of cornering me, and everybody thought he was my coach. So yeah, shout out to Joe Gowans for obviously staying by me all that time. But even he will know that I made the right decision, and I had to join higher level, who had multiple pro fighters, um, and yeah, like to be a proper killer. If you want to be a wolf, you've got to surround yourself with wolves, if you
Yeah.
like. Um, and yeah, I mean, James is obsessed with MMA and martial arts. I mean, I think he's probably done martial arts since he's been like, 5 years old or something. I think he started with karate, and yeah, he's proper obsessed with it, and yeah, he's like, in my opinion, one of the best coaches in the world. Uh, and yeah, he's obviously, there's now fighters coming out. Sean Clancy, for example, he'll be in the UFC, maybe probably with a title at some point. Uh, he's only 21 years old, and he's an absolute beast. He's been beating me up in the gym for years now, so he's a welterweight. And then obviously you've got Mark Ewan, who's known now. I think he's 5-1. He lost his last fight there in Newcastle, but yeah, he's fighting on the card. You've got Dylan Took,
Yeah.
that we've adopted for Ireland, um, and yeah, obviously he just beat Kane Musa.
Mm.
Lorenzo Parente, I think he's 3-0 already, and he's really up and coming. Aye, like I said, I'm going in and they're fucking keeping me sharp, beating me up sometimes, and yeah, try to hang in with the new era, because the game changes so
Yeah,
much.
it
The
does
game changes. I
definitely.
mean, and it's a hard sport, man. Like, there's not a lot of people that will hang around. Like, when I first started training at higher level, if I look around the gym and I think to myself, who is still in the gym that, when I started, you're lucky if there's even one.
Mm.
Um, doing it on a full time basis anyway, doing it like still fighting. Um, but yeah, fucking, they're keeping me sharp, and like I said, I've got a lot of good teammates that are preparing me for this fight.
So you were saying about the new level, no, not new level, high level MMA gym. That you guys do have a lot of respect for fighters coming out. And you also talked about how you need to train with the best at that gym, of course, because you want to ha have the most successful mixed martial arts career. But your nickname Braveheart, how did you acquire that?
Uh, I think it was just when I was with my old club. Um, I think just me and Joe were kind of saying, like, big, when I end up fighting on like big organizations, that just, it's easy, it makes sense. Like, it's, Braveheart, Scottish. Um, so that, but also because the type of fighter I was, like, I won a few fights by like not skill based anyway. Like, I should have lost, but like, just I had the will to win. I showed heart, got the win. So that kind of brave heart, kind of, so a wee bit of that as well. But yeah, just kind of because I'm Scottish, uh,
Mm.
Scottish, and I like fighting.
That's but it's a nickname that it suits you. It suits you based not just in your as in your demeanor, but also your fight record as well. I can see that fine, there's some losses in there, but you've pushed through that. You've continued to keep going, rise up the ranks, and always stay focused.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I signed with the UFC in 2015. I mean, I think I've been fighting on Cage Warriors since 2013. So you're talking 11 years of fighting at the highest level.
Yeah.
Um, in those 11 years, I've probably had 30 plus pro fights. Um, so fighting the best guys in the world. I had 11 fights in the UFC, 7 wins, 4 losses. I think I've had 6 fights in PFL, uh, two wins, 4 losses. Got me rubbish, but yeah, I mean, I've been fighting the best of guys for a long time. And I think that is a big difference between me and Lewis is the resume or record or whatever. Like he is a good fighter and he's tough and he's dangerous, but he's not been in there with the caliber that I've been in there with. He's not fought anywhere near the level of guys that I've fought. I mean, looking at his record, there's a few good fighters. Most of them he's lost to. I think was there Roberto Solbeck or whatever you call him. He lost to him. He lost to the French guy that I was saying earlier. Uh, in Bellator. Trying to think of the biggest name he's beat. He has beat some good guys, but yeah, I didn't feel like it's been on the same kind of level as me. Not saying that it doesn't make him dangerous or whatever he is. He does. He is a dangerous fighter, and I'm taking it serious. Yeah, but I feel like there's a difference in the level that we've been fighting.
What advice would you give to any younger, newer fighters gradually coming up the ranks and gradually emerging onto the scene, especially in the UK?
Advice to young fighters.
Yes.
So let's say this is to young fighters that they're not making any money for the sport yet. They're maybe they maybe think they could, go somewhere. As one, the advice is it's a fucking long road. It's a long game. It's a fucking hard game as well. You've got to be all in or all out. You've got to decide that. You've got to kind of decide that. You've got to know whether you're willing to give it everything. Are you willing to dedicate your whole life to MMA? Because if you're not, then I feel like you're going to go anywhere. Um, I mean, like I said, it's such a fucking hard sport. Um, and that's where I feel like I was fortunate, if you like, because when I was fighting back then, I had fuck all. I had nothing. I came from nothing. I didn't have a job, or I didn't have like a skilled job anyway. I was a lit, I done obviously labouring and non-skill based jobs. But I think it's tough. See if you've already got a good job, you've got a career elsewhere. Like it's hard to decide to try and be a full-time fighter. Because yeah, I mean, it's a hard game, man. Like turning up to punch and kick your mates on a Friday night. Such a weird sport, we're literally punching and kicking each other in the face to to try and entertain other people.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, even if you dive right deep into it, I mean, you're watching two guys try and fucking kick kick the shit out of each other for
Yeah.
entertainment. It's yeah, it's crazy, but yeah, I mean, I think just decide whether you're willing to give it all or no, and if no, then there's no point of wasting a lot of your time. Um, because I see a lot of fighters that try and give it, and that yeah, then they realize like they've wasted a lot of years of their life dedicating themselves to the sport. So yeah, all in or all out. Find a that's if you're looking to go like full time and give it everything. I mean, like I mean, if you want to be a full time fighter, obviously you could go and I recommend everybody does martial arts. Like go find a
Yeah.
gym. I've got multiple guys at Braveheart MMA in Kirkcaldy that come. Some of them come for their mental health, and that's it. They just come. They know if they didn't come, their mental health suffers. It gets worse. They start training, their mental health stays good. So they just kind of know they need to train for their mental health. I have guys that do it for fitness. If they didn't train, they get fat. Um, uh, I have guys that come to socialise. It's their time to actually just sit and hang about with your mates. They're not even there for the training. They're just there to socialise. So yeah. I mean, I feel like it's for everybody.
Yeah.
Uh, and learning how to fight, I feel, is a necessity for a man. I think everybody should know how to fight. I mean,
Yeah.
how are you going to protect your kids or your wife if you can't fight? You never know. You never know when you might have to.
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
fair.
you know, somebody breaks into your house, a schizophrenics, fucking try to take your kids, or I don't know, just anything. Like I feel like everybody should know how to fight just in case you have to. So many different benefits you get from training, physical fitness, mental fitness, meeting people. Uh, yeah, um, and just I think everybody needs to kind of decide what kind of person are they. Are you a person that's wanting to um, make it to the UFC, make a wage? Are you a guy that's just you've already got a good career, you want to have a few fights on a big stage like Cage Warriors? Would you be happy with that? Or do you not even want to fight? You just want to try and figure that out and then figure out your training schedule and find that balance in your life because yeah, I think that's hard finding the balance. Uh, so I've got Joe Rogan on Netflix playing in the background. Yeah, wee show. They even kind of wee turn it. Yeah,
Damn.
yeah,
I like the setup we got there. It's really good.
yeah. It's decent, man. Joe Rogan. He's just got his new stand-up thing on Netflix, so it's just playing in the background. But yeah,
Mm.
uh, yeah. I mean, find out why you're training. What's your why? Why are you training? And then get a routine and try and stick to it. Aye.
I think it's something based on what you said there, and I agree with everything you said. It's something that in the curriculum we see here in the UK, they should make it compulsory with every child, even as high as university level. They should learn it because it's a skill that does have its uses in someone's life.
Yeah, I mean, if everybody knew how to fight, there probably wouldn't be any bullying. I mean,
Yes, that's it.
like a bully only goes for people that can't fight or can't defend themselves. That's literally how my bullying stopped. As soon as I knew how to fight, nobody picked on me. Because if they tried to pick on me, they got a bang in the face. They get,
Yeah.
um, and yeah, I feel like strangely, maybe sounds a bit weird, but I think once you've been punched in the face as well, it also humbles you a bit to
Yes.
know when to shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So yeah, as daft as that sounds, I think everybody should get punched in the face once. Um, just to just to remember you that you know, especially with social media these days, everybody feels safe. Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
feels safe behind the
A keyboard or
behind the
device.
camera. But yeah, for both sides, I mean, fighting and training, and it's got a lot of positives.
Last but not least, any shout outs or even something I've started asking fighters now on the show, any call outs that you'd also like to put out there?
Well, this fight is supposed to be potentially my last fight. That was kind of the idea, but like just coming back for it being my last fight. But I did say I'm like, you know what? It depends on how much I enjoy the fight camp. And right now, I'm enjoying the training. I'm enjoying being back training. I'm enjoying the sparring. Even the hard graft. The only thing I'm not enjoying so much is the fact that I've realised I've ruined my summer. Because, like, Scotland doesn't get a very good summer as it is. And I'm 8 weeks out for a fight. That means no more drinking, no more eating good food, no
Mhm.
more fucking socializing. Like, yeah, summer's over. And then, the fight's September 28th. And then yeah, I could do all that shit, but and then it's dark and wet and shit again. So that's the one shit part that I've realised, I kind of like, yeah, I've dedicated my summer to.
Yeah.
So Lewis, if you end up watching this, I'm gonna punch you in the face a wee bit harder just because you fucking ruined my summer, man. I'm sure he'll be saying the same because I think he likes a drink as well. But yeah, back on fuck. What was it you even said, man? I ended up blather
Any,
on a wee bit there. Shout outs.
yeah, haha, yes.
Call it. So yeah, I've not got any call outs. I mean, I'll see how the fight's gonna go. I think this is fight number 48. So it does, if it goes well and the fight camp goes well, it makes sense to maybe squeeze another two in, make it to 50 pro fights. Or no, I think 50 fights in total, sorry. But um then yeah, shout out to my sponsors. Um this is where I forget them all. But I've not really got much sponsors now. Flora Fusion, CBD company. Um they have sponsored me for quite a while. That helps with anxiety. It helps just chill you out. It's got a tiny bit of THC in it, the legal amount. It's good CBD oil. Check them out, Flora Fusion. And tatami that I'm wearing now. So you can see here. I've not just put these
Nice.
on for the interview,
I
but
like that.
got the shorts and jumper and that on. They kept me out all the time. And I didn't even need to really sell it. Tatami's like one of the best brands out there for um training clothing, but even just chilling clothing. They've sent me some like beach shorts and stuff. They're obviously venturing into different kind of clothing. They've got loads of cool stuff out just now. So yeah, check Tatami Fightwear out. And who else have I got? I think that's it for now. I'm in the process of getting sponsors for my gym, Braveheart MMA. We're trying to get new zebra mats.
Nice.
Because right now I've just got jigsaw mats and they're straight on a concrete, so it's quite a hard floor. So yeah, we're looking to get the zebra mats, and we've got a few sponsors I think that are on board for that, but no like proper sealed yet. Still waiting to hear back for a few more. So if any company out there wants to sponsor a local martial arts gym or just a martial arts gym, you can sponsor my gym, Braveheart MMA. It'll be your logo will be around the kind of main logo in the gym, and you'll see your logo constantly on the photos and videos and stuff. And I
Uh,
thanks
oh,
yourself for the interview, man.
no, you're welcome. But definitely we're gonna have you back on the show very soon at some point. Um, if you can, if you want, can you please send me a list of all the people and all the brands you'd like me to, that you want to shout out to, and I'll tag them both in the YouTube post and in the Instagram post as well, if and the stories as well.
Right, man. Perfect. Oh, last one though. Thanks to Arena Gym as well. I just remembered Arena Gym always letting me train there for my strength conditioning and stuff. So Arena Gym in Kirkcaldy, best gym in Fife. Thanks to them.
Steven, thank you for coming on the show. Guys, if you enjoyed the episode, please don't forget to leave a like and to subscribe on YouTube. It really helps the platform grow when you do that. And don't forget, you can also catch the audio versions on iTunes, Spotify, and on Google Podcast. Steven, thank you once again.
Cheers, man.